What's going on, guys? Aaron from Top Tier Gaming here, and today I am bringing you guys a duel video between me on the left playing Dragonmaid and my friend Levi on the right piloting Dinosaur. So we did just attend a pretty big tournament down in Alexandria where we actually had this exact matchup come up. I played Levi in round 3, and this is sort of my chance for some vengeance because he did get me in the tournament. I had a really unfortunate hand game 1 in which I drew 3 tidying and just sort of it was a very bad brick, so we wanted to play another one out and show you guys a duel on the channel. This is the first one on the channel featuring both of these decks, so super exciting there. Levi is going to win the dice roll and start us off with a Prosperity, and when Prosperity sees Misc, you know it's going to be quite a game, and he actually grabs the Lost World, which tells me his hand is already absolutely bonkers. And unfortunately for us, we did not draw any Go Second cards in our opening hand. And this Dragonmaid list, the profile was uploaded just the other day, and we are on like 14 Go Second cards. So not seeing one here is extremely unfortunate, and it means we're either going to need to top deck a very good Go Second card, or somehow play through this Dino board, which I'm sure is just going to look like one of the most ridiculous boards ever. Dinosaur are absolutely phenomenal at setting up their turn 1 board, and it can lead to some pretty crazy stuff. Honestly, like, I know it's not a deck being played a lot right now, so a lot of people might be unaware, but it puts up like one of the most bonkers first turn boards in the game that doesn't even revolve around Scythe. So it's really impressive what the deck can do. Levi just going through his sort of first turn Dinosaur combo, and I mean, yeah, this hand, when you have Overraptor Lost World, sheesh, it's gonna be good stuff. So he's gonna go through all of his, baby Ceresaurus, which just allow him to get more special summons from the deck. Archosaur adding the pill there, special summoning another baby Ceresaurus. The fact that this card isn't once per turn has always been absolutely insane. And because he does have Lost World, even if I did have a Go Second card like Imperm or Gamma, which I'm not running in this list, but if I was, I couldn't activate them because of this token. Lost World just making the Dinosaur go first even more hard to interrupt because they already have Miscellaneousaurus, which makes them unaffected, but the token just helps in a lot of situations where they don't get Misc as well. So as you see here, he just has an absolute full board. Again, I open no Go Second cards. I do have a lot. One of them is Nibiru, which wouldn't do much here. It can be okay in some instances against the Dinosaur deck, but in this situation, I'm sort of glad we didn't draw Nibiru. He's going to go for the Appaloosa with 2400 original attack, but Lost World does decrease that by 500. The Omega, which is something he chooses to make instead of Savage because it helps his follow-up a lot and, gets a card out of the opponent's hand all the same. He's going to pill for the Overtex, which is super good, Overtext being a spell negate that also gets additional follow-up. So this board, unlike some Dino boards, is set up for more follow-up, but he hard opened the UCT as well. So he has a 3 negate Appaloosa, really 2 negates because of Lost World, an Omega, an Overtext, a Logia, and we're gonna go with standby phase. I did not top deck Droplet, so Omega is going to put Misc back in grave, which will be super difficult for next turn. And yeah, no Go Second cards against this type of board. I'm gonna have to use my engine to try to break what is essentially like an FTK board. So let's see just how far Dragonmaid can actually get in this scenario. So I'm gonna start off my turn by summoning Chamber, activating her effect, to which he is going to lose 800 attack on Appaloosa to negate. I'm then gonna link Chamber and the token into Dark, the Dark Charmer, which I'm going to use its effect, and of course he has Dark's Engraved because Overraptor is Dark. He's thinking what he wants to do, and he chooses to negate the Dark. So Appaloosa has 300 attack, and therefore she cannot negate unless Lost World is destroyed. So that is something to keep in mind. He still just has so many interrupts here, and I've used my normal summon, so we're going to activate Changeover because I know I have a Parlor. No, it's a Kitchen, actually. I have a Kitchen and an Ernest in hand, so this would allow me to get straight into Sheo, which would be very helpful in trying to break this board. He is going to Overtext negate, which allows him to search his pill for follow-up, which is going to be tough on the crackback as well. Deciding what I want to do from here, again, I did have to do some thinking for sure, playing into this board because, this board is a monstrosity, and I have to play through it with just engine cards. And keep in mind, this isn't something like Dragon Link that runs like a super high amount of extenders. It's a much more balanced deck that focuses more on hand traps and stuff, of which we saw none. So my engine being able to push through a board like this is it's going to be tough, to say the least. I'm going to activate the Hospitality, and he chains Omega, because he knows Hospitality can special from hand, and he's just hoping he hits something I might be wanting to summon with the Hospitality. Luckily for me, he hits a Tidying from my hand, which, you know, I'm not going to use to crack this board, at least for sure. It sucks to lose a card because of Omega, but, you know, that's just the way it is. I go ahead and special summon the Chamber, and he has nothing at resolution, so I activate the Changeover Engrave Bouncing Back Chamber, and this sort of puts me in a good spot, because now I could either activate the Changeover again, because Changeover to Fusion Summon isn't once per turn, only the effect to bounce back. So we have some options here. I am super afraid of the Logia negate, so in my opinion, I can't have Changeover get negated by Logia. So my objective right now is to somehow kill the Logia without it being able to negate. So I go Battle Phase, and in start step of Battle Phase, I activate the Earnest. And he's going to think on that. He has no interruption at this point for an Earnest effect. I'm going to special the Kitchen and activate her effect, which is going to add a Dragonmaid monster to my hand and then discard one. And I'm definitely going to grab the Lorepar here, because I can activate the Kitchen effect, who's now on field, bounce her back to hand, and then special the Lorepar, which is bigger than Logia, because they are both dragons. They're both losing 500 attack, so I'm still bigger. Dark is going to swing at Appaloosa for 1050 damage. And then Lorepar is going to run over the Logia eventually and inflict 300 points of damage. And then I go into main phase 2, and all of a sudden, all I'm staring down is an Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, which I think this is a super huge testament to the Dragonmaid deck, being able to play through what looked like just an FTK board, and we were able to use only engine cards to sort of play through what was, it looked like an impossible, you know, hill to climb over. But now we're in a position where this game might not be over. So I'm going to special back the Kitchen using Lorepar's effect to bounce back to hand. I don't think I had to do that, and maybe it was better not to just like use the Lorepar on field as a way to get my Sheo out, because then I'd just keep a Dragonmaid in hand rather than on field, and I think that was overall just a lot better, because it's not like I want more monsters on the field against Ultimate Conductor Tyranno anyway. So a slight misplay, I don't think it matters too much, but it is something to note. Like, sometimes it's better to have less monsters against the dinosaur strategy. And this is where the Omega actually comes in so clutch, because what really this extra monster on board would normally do for me is allow me to make Nightmare Unicorn with the Dark, and then spin back the Tyranno or the Lost World, which would be absolutely huge here. But Omega actually taking that card out of our hand made sure we had just one card too little to completely crack the board. But again, I think this is such a huge testament to how powerful the Dragonmaid deck can actually be. In certain hands, even go second. It seems like a very, like, simple, not like, that's not the word I'm looking for, but a very one-track deck going first, where it just wants to make seals. But as you see, it can also break boards with its engine, giving the right scenario. It really comes down to changeover oftentimes and how your opponent interrupts stuff. But yeah, just a huge testament to the Dragonmaid strategy, I think, here. It's really impressive, and I'm still impressed, and I was the one piloting it, so. And he's going to activate the Pill here, and I know he's gone through Overtex and Tyranno, and I know his list, so I know Pankratops is coming out, which is going to force the Sheo anyways, but in addition to, like, Pankratops forcing Sheo, it's going to give him a token off of Lost World, so I'm sort of forced to negate this Pill. Again, the Overtext providing him such good follow-up there. We're going to special our house, but again, another reason Omega was super good is we didn't have Tidying. If we had Tidying here, oh my goodness, it'd be so good, because we'd be able to bounce back the Chamber, like target his Omega to return it to extra deck, and then we'd be able to pop the Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. We would be in an amazing spot, and I think this game was really shifted by specifically Omega and what it hit, because if it hit like the Chamber, I think this game, you know, would be in a different position currently, where I would still have the Tidying to do stuff with. And I don't know, it's just one thing where Omega hit like a good card. Initially, like, Tidying getting hit seems like one of the better hits, but I think Tidying was really needed here to just sort of make sure his board was gone, especially with House currently on the field. He's going to go ahead and activate UCT, and his board is just massive. We have no interruptions here, and he's just able to do whatever he wants. And I mean, the writing is clear as day. he is going to go in a battle phase and sort of just put us straight to 0. Again, I think this was an amazing testament to just how good Dragonmaid can be, but we are going to lose game 1 and go straight to game 2. Alright, going on into game 2, we actually do get to go first. Game 1, Levi did win the dice roll and definitely played his dinosaur deck to like a high ceiling there. Dinosaur just putting up a crazy board. But I do think we did get a little unfortunate opening no go second cards and losing the die roll. So let's see if Dragonmaid can get a chance to turn things around here in this second game. Dinosaur, of course, not known for playing you know, many hand traps, but they often have many blowout go second cards, so it depends on what list Levi is on, but we are going to have to make sure we set up a board that can potentially deal with a threat like that. We're going to start our turn off with a prosperity for 3, and usually I prosperity for 6, so when I prosperity for 3, it normally means my hand is pretty good. Looking at these, it's really tough choice because adding a dragon might lead me to making Yugioh and Spheres first turn instead of one or the other. But looking at my hand, I do decide to grab the Ash Blossom because I know it is like such an impactful hand trap against Dinosaur. And Ash overall this format isn't super insane, but against the Dinosaur deck, it is very impactful for hitting the Miscellaneousaurus. I'm going to summon Parlor and attempt to activate our effect, to which he does have the Gamma. It is like the only hand trap Levi is actually playing, our Dinosaur player. And that really sucks for me because Gamma is super impactful, especially against this deck, which has very linear plays going first. I just want to make my Spheres. But I do have the Hospitality to keep extending here. Chamber is going to use her effect to add Tidying, which is going to be an interrupt and follow-up. That is the most powerful thing about Dragonmaid, is every single interrupt is also a form of follow-up that allows you to play on like both players' turns. It's super insane, and Dragonmaid, once it gets rolling, is just such a powerful deck. But yeah, we are just going to set the Tidying. There was a world where we normal summon the Chamber first to play into Gamma, and then we Parlor out we Hospitality out the Parlor, setting Tidying to special the Chamber and make seals. But I really wanted to get Tidying, and I wasn't fully playing into Gamma. In my opinion, it didn't matter which one I did first, it just ends on different things. However, in this case, Spheres was definitely the correct play because one of my interrupts just left because Dogoran just got slammed on my Chamber. So we no longer control a dragon, we control a dinosaur. And Levi is going to special summon Pankratops, so opening 2 pretty powerful board breakers in the form of Dogoran and Pank. And this is super tough for us, right? Because if we make Seals at least special summon like a monster that can get us more follow-up. But because he did open the Dogoran, our Tidying was just about useless. So now we only have one known interrupt in the form of Ash Blossom. So things are definitely looking tough right here. He's going through his dinosaur plays. Using Lost World to protect the token, dumping Baby Ceratosaurus, special summoning the Oviraptor, all happens in damage steps, so I cannot Ash Blossom, which is very unfortunate. He's going to pop my token to special his Baby Ceratosaurus, which at this point I'm feeling like this game is looking rough because, I mean, one of our interrupts that is also follow-up just left and is gone, and that's terrible. One thing to note though is I did open 2 Hospitality, which was really weird. But will be great in this instance because I do need the follow-up. So it was tough turn 1 to open like multiples of a once per turn, but it's going to save us next turn if we happen to survive. We do Ash Blossom his Miscellaneousaurus, so Miscellaneousaurus, yeah, we word here. But yeah, Ash on Misk is so powerful and can just stop his turn if he has nothing to do here. He's going to set 1 card and choose to pass his turn, so we technically have a Pankratops to contend with, which is annoying, but you know, it could have been much worse if we didn't grab the Ash Blossom. So super glad we did grab that, because if we had gone for another play and made Yugioh by like searching changeover, if we grabbed a dragon off of Prosperity and that got Dogoran, oh, we would have been in such trouble. But we are going to activate the Hospitality, special summoning the Parlor so we can get the dump of Lorepar from our deck, which big dragons are definitely going to help us try to clear these boards here and get us just so much more advantage. The big dragons really help your snowball just go that much quicker because they bounce your monsters back for free, get you bigger bodies and just more bodies to do whatever you want with. So We're going to use the Parlor's effect to dump the Tidying. I'm not quite sure what he will really want to Pankratops here. Dogoron is massive because it's a dinosaur, so it's not losing 500 attack from Small World, which is nice. I'm going to use the Tidying to go ahead and special the Chamber. And I'm going to use Chamber's effect to add a Dragonmaid spell or trap. And there's a couple of things I can do here. I already have the Tidying, so that's not something I really want to grab. I've already used Hospitality, so there's no real reason to grab that. Changeover is definitely the easiest option to grab here, but if like I'm concerned he's gonna Pankratops pop like my Tidying, I could choose to grab another one or get a Hospitality for like known follow-up later. But I think in every scenario just adding the Changeover is the right play here, because Yugioh is a absolute beast, and yeah, it's super good to get that on board, especially if we can get it with the seals. We're gonna normal summon the kitchen and add Ernest and send Ernest to the graveyard, which means we now have 2 big dragons, which again just gets the snowball rolling that much faster. So in this situation, we have now amassed quite a big board, of course, with our trusty friend Dogoron here. So it looked like a pretty bleak game is now going sort of, the momentum shift is in Dragonmaid's favor for sure. Going battle phase, activating Parlor to summon the Lorpar, and then activating the Chamber to special Ernest, all of which he chooses not to Pankratops pop. And now we have a chance to swing over some monsters. Now, the way it's set up, we won't be dealing much damage because, I mean, Kitchen is 0 attack and there's not another dragon we can summon for her, so she's not really going to be doing much. It's really just Dogoron swinging and Lorpar swinging. So yeah, we're going to just decide what we want to attack here, deciding how I'm going to do it to get the most damage possible. I swing Dogoron into his Pankratops, forcing it out, assuming he'll hit the Dogoron. It just sort of depends what he wants to do here. So he is thinking if he even wants to use the Pankratops. I mean, you always use it, but sort of selecting his target. There'd be no reason to let it be run over. So he's going to tribute the Pankratops and pop the Ernest, which was surprising to me, but I mean, I can get it. It's another dragon on field that can be used to make spheres, or I did just search Changeover so I can make Yugioh. But we still get an attack with Dogoron, so we're going to swing over the Oviraptor, and then use our big dragon to swing over baby Ceratosaurus. And then, you know, I think we swing for 0 with Kitchen. Very impressive. If that got deprisoned, you know, that's just tough cookies. We're thinking if we want to back the Lorpar. Yeah, so we do bounce Lorpar back to special the Parlor, and then he hits me with an Evenly Match, which I was really surprised to see that set, but he did have to give me the Dogoron to play, so he couldn't really use Evenly Match to that effect. I do get to keep 2 cards because Lost World is on the field, so Evenly Match not being super impactful here because we keep pretty much what we want on the field. We're going to use Changeover, sending Chamber and Lorpar from our hand to make Yugioh, which in this scenario where he only has 1 card in hand, it can be very good. He does have Lost World to sort of, you know, chain block maybe a top decked Oviraptor, but we do also have that Tidying set from turn 1 that is now proving to be very powerful. Levi's going to start off his turn, and of course in the standby phase, Yugioh is going to activate, special summon the Chamber, and search another form of follow-up. Just everything in Dragonmaid is an interrupt and follow-up. It is so powerful when it gets going. And we're going to see what Levi can do against this negate and this bounce. Only 2 cards, so he needs something good. He's going to activate the Lost World, and I'm sort of afraid of the chain blocking from the Lost World, so he's going to activate the Fossil Dig, excuse me. And that is going to clean up for game 2, going into game 3 here. So yeah, for game 3, we are going second once again. Hopefully, we can actually see some go second cards this time. The first game, again, it's just a little unfortunate. We saw 0 when we're running so many, and we happened to lose the dice roll, but we did pick it up in game 2. Let's see what Levi can do in this game 3 to set up his board, and what I may have to stop him in his tracks. So I'm thinking in standby phase because I drew a Lancia, so already seeing a good go second card, but Lancia is so risky against his deck because he could have Gamma. Now I also drew Ash Blossom, so I felt activating Lancia was just worth it enough, hoping he didn't have Gamma, because we do have an out to the Gamma in the form of Ash. It's still a very risky play, but honestly, like, I think it was worth it, because he has so many starters in his deck that require banishing, like the Prosperity and the Small World, that we can just instantly stop, as well as his engine sort of requiring banishing as well. He's going to summon the Archosaur, and I'm deciding if I want to Ash I know, or I'm assuming at least, he's going to hit a baby from his hand, and I'm deciding whether I want to Ash the Archosaur and sort of get that option out altogether, or Ash the baby, so that we can just get the baby out of his hand in general. And, you know, looking back, I don't know which one's really the right play. I think it's a toss-up. If he doesn't have another card to proc Baby Ceresaurus on the next turn if we Ash the Archosaur, that baby is just like a brick in his hand. But also, if he just like does have a way and we Ash the Archosaur, he still has a baby to use on the next turn. So it's really tough. We do choose to Ash the Baby Ceresaurus though, and he ends his board with a Link Kribo. So things, in my opinion, are looking really good. I'm going to activate Prosperity at the start of my turn for 3, telling me my hand is at the very least playable. Gonna reveal Dogwood, which I don't really have a great side deck for Dinosaur, so I sided in Dogwood just in case it could help me survive. And we're gonna reveal Called by the Grave and definitely take that. I mean, it's so good versus an engine and can help me against hand traps. So now just deciding what to do with our turn here, we're going to activate Parlor Dragonmaid, who is going to resolve and send... There's a couple things we can do here, right? We can send Tidying and go for the very standard Seals play, which is an option I was considering, but I did open a big dragon, so I can also dump the changeover, which I choose to do. Or actually, excuse me, the only other Dragonmaid monster in my hand is actually Nurse, but I did open Small World here, so I'm going to bounce the changeover and the Parlor, and then I'm going to activate the Small World. Now, this is where things get a little weird in this game, and honestly, I think was a misplay on my part. He's going to activate the Lancia, so this is tough because I put myself in a position where I sort of need this Small World to resolve because I bounced the Parlor back and gave myself no chance of making Seals. So, yeah, honestly, I should have Small Worlded for a big dragon first, getting rid of the Nurse. Another misplay on my part here is getting rid of this Parlor, which will come up in the play I have made. I didn't want to get rid of my only Nurse because I am on 1 Nurse. So I didn't want to get rid of it because that's my only Nurse for the game, but I have multiple Parlors. So initially I was like, okay, getting rid of Parlor makes sense here. In this instance where I'm making Sheo because I Small Worlded for Lorepar, I think keeping Parlor is better because even making Sheo here, my 2 Dragonmaid monsters are Lorepar and Nurse, both of which Sheo is not getting any follow-up off of. So doing this, I really only have an interrupt with no follow-up, and looking back, I definitely should have Small Worlded first to make sure that was the play I was going for, because if he Lancia'd there, like, I can sort of change my play based on it. Of course, Lancia was going to stop tidying either way, so maybe we just go for the Spheres play to start. He is actually going to top deck Gamma against our Sheo, and that is so bad for us, so bad. The top deck Gamma, super sacky card Gamma is, and it just puts us in such a bad position. Gamma is so powerful, and it being the top deck is really unfortunate for us. We did play into it by activating Sheo. Like, we could have played around a top deck Gamma by not activating Sheo, because there's almost no point to activate him because we're not getting any, or her, excuse me. No point to activate her because she's not going to get any advantage off what we summon except the body, which, again, against Dinosaur, isn't super good. So I think multiple misplays in a row this game is sort of tough for us, and it's going to be hard to come back. Again, because he did top deck the Gamma, it is like any play we made would have been punished by it, right? Like, say we make the Seals instead, and we use Seals effect to bounce. Cool, we get an interrupt from the bounce, that's pretty nice. But then Gamma hits our follow-up, which is going to put us in a losing position again. So I think this game is going to be a really uphill battle from this point, almost no matter what I played. And again, it's mostly due to the top deck Gamma, which, I mean, Gamma is an amazing card, and that's why Dinosaur play it, so it makes sense. But yeah, we do not have an out for it in this situation, and we are left with a House and a Lorepar, and Levi is going full combo. So our goal here is just to survive, and then top deck any card that could help with some follow-up here. So like a Hospitality would not do it because, again, we only have Lorepar and Nurse. We need Chamber or Parlor, and I sort of put myself in this position again because we didn't banish the Nurse, right? Like, there's actually a reason to activate Sheo how I did if I keep the Parlor in hand, but again, I didn't. He's going to pop the, pretty much my whole board with the access code, of course, popping the fusion first, so he can do any of this, and then, because the monster can't be destroyed by card effects while I have a fusion, and he's just going to amass a board, and of course that is going to spell game for us here. So dinosaurs do take it. A couple of misplays in game 3, sort of my bad, but I don't know if our hand was going to be able to beat that top deck gamma. Tough situation, but I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe. This has been Aaron from Top Tier Gaming. Bye, YouTube.